A top story first. TVK chief and actor turned politician Godrej Vijay made a second bid today, and as many days rather, in 2 days, 2 bids, to form the next Tamil Nadu government. Vijay and a core group of his winning MLAs made their way to Lok Bhavan this morning to stake claim yet again to form the government. However, the TVK contingent, we're told, returned without receiving the go-ahead, and the governor is believed to have insisted on their visit for getting the signature of 118 MLAs who are expressing support to the TVK in order to swear Vijay in as the state's next chief minister. Now, this in fact is a near repeat of yesterday's proceedings when the same group of MLAs and Vijay went to the Lok Bhavan to stake claim but returned disappointed. Vijay, remember, has 107 TVK MLAs, including himself, aside from 5 more MLAs from the Congress who have pledged support to him. Governor Arlekar, on both occasions, has asked for an explicit offer of support from 118 MLAs before personally ensuring, it would seem, if and whether the TVK has the numbers in order to swear the next chief minister in. Even as this drama played out today, multiple supporters of the TVK staged protests outside Chennai's Lok Bhavan, insisting that Vijay be sworn in as the state's next chief minister. Across party lines as well, especially across the Congress, the DMK and the TVK itself, multiple leaders have called for due process to be upheld and allowing Vijay the chance to stake his claim to form the next government before he's asked to prove his numbers on the floor of the assembly itself. Let's listen in to what the political spectrum had to say about the 2 days of drama at the Lok Bhavan.
The governor, who is to be the repository of constitutional wisdom, has no alternative but to call the single largest party in Tamil Nadu to form the government. It has happened umpteen times in the past. Also, no other formation has even staked a claim. The shortage is barely 7-8 seats. Plus, the governor always will be stipulating that the floor of the house will prove the majority in 10-12 days. So what is the problem?
The single largest party, Mr. Vijay's TVK, has staked to form the government and met the governor, and they have given the support of 113 MLAs. The governor is very well within his power to ask, how are you going to prove the majority? Give me the letters.
And how confident are you, sir? Because what I've learned from the sources that our Times now has learned from the sources that governor has posed some questions, but TVK's Vijay is confident on the numbers. How would you like to respond?
No, see, definitely we have confidence. Definitely we'll get the support. And the governor, definitely we have as a single largest party, he should invite us to form the government.
Okay.
And we are very confident. Like that's what the law and the rules
yes,
says.
procedure.
So we'll wait for governor because he has to follow the rule.
Well, criticism there across the political spectrum here in Tamil Nadu, at least the left of centre political spectrum, on Governor Arlekar's perceived delay to invite the TVK to form the next government. So from the looks of it, Tamil Nadu will not have a new government just yet. In fact, the latest round of political drama from the state comes even as preparations were underway at Chennai's Nehru Stadium for a possible swearing-in ceremony today. Intriguingly, the state protocol also kicked into place with a convoy accompanying Vijay all of yesterday, which then reportedly retreated when the TVK was denied an opportunity to form the government. We're also told that Governor Arlekar has questioned the state protocol department for initiating these arrangements without his approval or his go-ahead for the swearing-in ceremony. But the question we're asking on South Central today, is the governor on the right side of legal precedent? Remember, in the operative position, or portion rather, of the S.R. Bommai versus the Union of India case of 1994, the Supreme Court made it amply clear that a government's majority must be tested through a floor test in the assembly and not through a governor's opinion. So why is the Tamil Nadu governor delaying, possibly even denying Tamil Nadu's single largest party, in this case the TVK, the opportunity of a floor test? Is this gross invalidation of the people's mandate? To help us make some sense of this, I am now joined by Mr. Dushyant Dave, former president of the Supreme Court Bar Association. Mr. Dave, firstly, an absolute pleasure to have you here with us on South Central to help break this down. What's going on, sir? Is there a legal precedent here that the governor ought to follow, which Governor Arlekar is perhaps ignoring, perhaps pushing off, perhaps delaying, trying to circumvent established legal precedent? What do you make of it?
Well, it's a very interesting situation. If BJP was in the same position with 107 members, the governor would have immediately invited BJP to form the government and prove its majority within 30 days. So, I mean, that tells you what is really the position today prevailing in the country. Unfortunately, it's not BJP, it's TVK. And therefore, the governor is taking his sweet time to really, explore if any alternative can come up. Now, let's understand, it's a very serious issue. See, undisputably, the people have voted TVK to be the largest party in Tamil Nadu. And it is really a great change because from the mainstream political spectrum, this group of TVK has emerged under a leading actor to win, the confidence of the people. Yes, he doesn't have majority of 118, but he is the single largest party in the Legislative Assembly with 108 members, 108 seats. Now, therefore, the governor is obligated to treat him as the single largest party. And since the other parties are nowhere near it, because DMK and ADMK both are just about 70 or 60. Therefore, nobody is in a position to form the government. There is no pre-poll alliance. Now, in those circumstances, the governor would have been well advised to invite Vijay to form the government and to request him to prove his majority on the floor of the assembly in 30 days. What the governor is doing is definitely not healthy. It's against the constitution. Absolutely. It's against what Sarkaria Commission had said. Sarkaria Commission in 1983 gave a fantastic report on constitutional laws. And one of the things that Sarkaria Commission recognized, because constitution is not very clear on this aspect. So the constitutional precedents, constitutional convention were recognized. And he said that if there is a pre-poll alliance which is majority, invite them first. If there is none, then invite the single largest party. Now, that's what the governor should have remembered.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Davi, the question really is, like you rightly pointed out, the governor isn't doing any of that. At least that's what we've been picking up for the last couple of days, where the TVK contingent returned empty-handed and without any promises or invitation for 2 days in a row. So, given that there is open flouting of the Sarkaria Commission norms and that Bombay versus the Union of India judgment of 1994 is also clearly being circumvented, despite it being set as a clear legal precedent, what are the legal options now available to the TVK? Do you think there is ample room for the party, its allies, with the Congress perhaps to now move court? Do you see that to be the natural and the more logical outcome of such an impasse?
See, the problem is different. Sarkaria Commission's report was accepted by the Supreme Court in a later judgment in Rameshwar Singh's case. So, there is a very serious precedent, legal precedent available about this. But moving the court, first and foremost, you must understand that the role of the governor is extremely limited. Yes, governor has discretion, but the discretion is not absolute. Governor's main role is to ensure that there is formation of the government. Now, he has to therefore work towards ensuring formation of the government. Even if he finds that TVK is short by 10 members, the governor must give the opportunity, and somebody is bound to give support from outside and say that we will support you from outside. So that's the chance you give it to the single largest party. Now, we have all seen in last 10 years, 11 years, and even earlier during the Congress regime, that the governors have not been functioning in truly constitutional sense. And the governors are acting purely as the agent of the party in power at the center. Now, this is something really troublesome. This case really shows. I'll give you one example. For example, Governor of Maharashtra a few years ago, Mr. Koshyari, he invited Devendra Fadnavis to form the government when he did not have any, he was not even a single largest party. And he decided to form it with Ajit Pawar. And then when he went for, floor test, he lost. Now, yet the governor invited. So there is a precedent available. Secondly, as everybody would tell you, that the Supreme Court has consistently recognized the floor test as the ultimate test for the majority to prove itself on the floor of and that's the will of the people. Now, governor, acting in this fashion is really stifling the will of the people of the state, and he is trying. What does he really want? Does he want presidential rule in the state so that he can be the de facto chief minister? I don't understand this attitude on the part of the governor that there is an election which has taken place.
Absolutely.
That election has not thrown up a complete majority, but there is a will. People have spoken. You must respect that voice of the people. Now, this is where we are facing an existential crisis about the role of the governor in the country.
Absolutely. No, you make points that I'm pretty much sure the Congress and the TVK is also saying, Mr. Dave, in terms of how the governor only has a limited role and must be obliged to fulfill the obligations of inviting the single largest party to actually, stake a claim to form the government. But that clearly is not happening. So out of academic curiosity, sir, where does this practice of furnishing letters and parading 118 signatures of support actually come from? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it goes back to a practice during the Vajpayee era in terms of the governor or a constitutional authority like the president asking for a letter of support. When legal precedent clearly says that a floor test is mandatory, where does this practice come from of a letter of support, sir?
No, letter of support, even when Prime Minister Modi was appointed in 2024 after the general elections, BJP produced letter of support from Telugu Desam Party and Janata Dal to show that they had the majority of 293 in parliament. And that's how President Thalapathy Vijay invited Prime Minister Modi to form the government. Fair enough. Nothing wrong about it. But here is a peculiar situation. Here, there was no pre-poll alliance like Mr. Modi had. So therefore, with 108 seats, being the single largest party, the governor should really invite and forget about the letters and should tell him that you prove your majority if somebody is going to support you. Maybe 10, 20, 50 people might support him from outside because those MLAs who are belonging to the other parties or who are independent, they also know that the state can't afford another election now. State must have therefore a government. And as soon as possible, the government must be, formed. Secondly, what you asked, whether TVK has an option to go to court. I'm not very sure about my legal system today because our judges take consistently inconsistent views about these matters, depending on who approaches the court. Although, approving the majority on the floor of the Assembly or Parliament is a consistent rule that Supreme Court has followed, not just from Bomaya, even earlier. But I don't know whether the High Court will give such a relief to TVK because it all depends on what kind of pressure the judges are working under today. So my own feeling is that I think in a day or two, governor perhaps might be exposed further and might be embarrassed to such an extent that he might, follow the course of inviting TVK. And if he doesn't do that, and if he, recommends president's rule saying that no party can form the government, that is something which will be subject to a challenge. And that would be an extremely dishonest and unconstitutional exercise. And that is worrying me a lot because...
So from a legal... Right, sir. Absolutely. So from a legal standpoint, you still think it's, if this at all were a TVK versus governor scenario, you still see it as advantage TVK Congress, where they continue to play the waiting game and hope that Governor Arlekar will eventually, bow to a well-established legal precedent and let the law take its course in terms of inviting the TVK Congress combine to prove its numbers on the floor of the House? Do you see that happening by way of an eventuality?
I think every moment lost is a great damage to the Constitution and our great democracy. And, if the individuals who are appointed in the high office of the governor are going to function in this fashion and defeat the, will of the people, then I think it's going to seriously destroy, this country's democracy. It's a matter of serious concern for every vigilant citizen of this country. And we would all be ashamed of how these governors are behaving.
Well, strong words coming from you there, Mr. Dave, but rightly said, I'm sure, in terms of following established legal precedent, which behooves the governor, like you mentioned, to invite the single largest party to have a claim at the next government. On that note, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us and breaking down these insights in terms of where the road could take us by way of the next Tamil Nadu government. Great speaking to you, sir. Thank you so very much.
Let us pray that governor gets some good, sense and perhaps get some message from Almighty to act constitutionally.
Well, let's hope that is truly the case. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on, more support coming in there for actor Vijay and TVK chief, of course, even as the party has made 2 unsuccessful bids at forming the government. This time around from Zoho founder and chief scientist Sridhar Vembu. In fact, Mr. Vembu there has in fact made a case for Vijay to actually go about having a shot at becoming the next chief minister of Tamil Nadu, and the TVK actually going about forming the government. In a post on X, Sridhar Vembu said, and I quote, "Respecting the mandate and letting the TVK form the government is the smartest move for the DMK and the AIADMK and other parties. If no solution is found and fresh polls arrive, the TVK will win a super majority anyway." So a whole lot of support there coming in from Sridhar Vembu, who also, remember, said that re-elections or another election would in fact mean a greater superiority and majority for the TVK. Next, the state Congress has now officially passed over the decision over who will be the newly elected Chief Minister of the state to the Congress High Command. The Kerala Congress Legislative Party has passed a one-line resolution authorizing the High Command to take the final call on the next Chief Minister after the UDF's big win on Monday. Earlier today, AICC observers Mukul Vasnik and Ajay Makin met newly elected MLAs one-on-one in Thiruvananthapuram and prepared a report that is expected to be sent to Delhi in the next couple of days. As is being widely reported, the frontrunners for the Kerala Chief Minister's position include V.D. Satheesan, Ramesh Chennithala and K.C. Venugopal. The Congress, remember, emerged as the single largest party in the alliance with 63 seats, while the UDF as a whole ended up with 102 seats, which saw them cross the mark with some degree of comfort, thereby ending the left front's decade-long rule in the state. Moving on to some corporate news next, realty major Brigade Enterprises has reported a 11% rise in FY26 revenues at nearly 5,900 crore rupees, driven by strong housing demand, leasing growth and higher hospitality income. The Bengaluru-based developer also posted a full-year net profit of 725 crore rupees, while the board also approved a 1-for-3 bonus issue and recommended a final dividend of 2 rupees per share. Separately, the company has also allotted over 28,000 equity shares under its employee stock option plan, leading to a marginal increase in paid-up share capital. Moving on, it's a new lease of life for the South India furniture market, and Godrej's home interiors brand, that's Interio by Godrej, is all set to hit the gas on its expansion strategy in the region. The business division has said it is on course to touching the 550 crore rupee revenue mark for FY27 from its southern markets alone. The division has also said it is confident of eventually capturing 40% market share in Chennai through a series of stores in the launch pipeline, as well as strategic partnerships with retail chains. I caught up with Dev Narayan Sarkar, Global Head of Consumer Business for Interio by Godrej, to get the lowdown on some of these plans. Let's listen into a slice of our conversation.
Absolutely. I think you hit it on the head. What we follow quite closely is the housing sales, the number of housing unit sales, and it is quite a syndicated data.
Right.
So, as you rightly said, in all these towns, as well as in many of the tertiary towns, in the Tier 2, Tier 3 towns, the housing sales in Tamil Nadu is booming, as well as many areas in South. So, hence we are mapping our expansion to that.
Right.
So, what we are doing today across India also, we are expanding at the rate of 2 stores every week. And this store in Chennai is basically a very proud moment for us. It's a 6,000 square feet, covering over 3 floors, and we are also in the process of doing up another floor at the top. So this, I think, is a testimony to the fact that housing expansion has happened very well.
Right.
And also the shift to organized sector in the furniture industry is also going very well.
Right. So what's the pipeline of stores going to be like in these three big markets, there, Hyderabad, Bengaluru and Chennai? What is that store launch pipeline that you have? What is that number and when will you get to it?
I think entire South India, we are planning to open around 80 stores this year itself. So we are in the process of finalizing most of it, of which Tamil Nadu itself will get 45 of them. So because this is the area which has been growing massively for us. So even among the 4 states, this is the state which is growing at a rate of 25% plus for us, which is very heartening to see. And in fact, we have tie-ups with a lot of chains also in this area. We have tie-ups with Sarvana, Vasant and Company and many other chains. So very, very unique market where we are selling through our stores. In nowhere else in India are we selling through chains.
Right.
So we have also tied up with them. So in that sense, accessibility is very high.
And the real estate works out for you as well. You're right in the heart of T Nagar. Chennai is a retail capital in many ways where many of these stores are located. But speaking of growth itself, you are of course saying 25% in Tamil Nadu alone. What will that growth number translate to in the pan South India region, and what will that translate for you in terms of revenue guidance as far as South is concerned?
Yeah, in terms of entire South, actually Chennai we expect to grow a little more than 25. Entire South will grow at 25.
Okay.
Tamil Nadu market should grow at maybe 27, 28 with the kind of investments we are making. In fact, today itself, after this interview, I am going to check out a location in Velachery.
Okay.
Because that is where we are opening our next store. So we have already finalized. So maybe very soon we'll call you again for that opening.
Right.
So we are expanding quite fast in this area.
And you know, even as these expansion plans are in the pipeline, as far as revenue is concerned, for the South region itself, what will that revenue number be like?
550 crores exactly is what we will achieve this year.
Okay.
So we have achieved around 500 crore last year. I think we should be comfortably achieving 550 crores across these 5 states of South this year.
And at the continuous growth rate of 25%, that's what you expect to keep growing at?
Yes.
Okay.
Completely. It's a huge market. It's a 140,000 crore market. We are just 4,500 crores, so we will keep growing.
I'm glad you bring up the market size itself, because even as we speak, there's been so much talk about competition in the market as well. IKEA, of course, comes to mind first, the big furniture retailer from the Nordic region. Store in Bengaluru, a store in Hyderabad. They've just recently launched a foray into Tamil Nadu, in Coimbatore and Chennai as well, and Madurai too, for that matter. What does this competition do to you? I know it's a 1.4 lakh crore market, but in terms of competition itself, is there going to be a strategy to differentiate? And if yes, what will that key differentiator be for you?
Our biggest differentiator always is our huge range, and our ability to manufacture products which are well and deep researched in the Indian psychology. So we have this insight into Indian consumers for last 128 years. So we make things which are very, very well suited for Indian consumers. Having said that, of course, basically across South, we would have 300 stores as well as basically another 450 retailers distributed through distributors.
Right.
I mean, compared to that, no matter how many stores competition creates, it's well off. But competition is always welcome, because that is where the kind of advertising competition brings in, and collaboratively all the companies bring in. That makes consumers realize that there is a benefit to buying things from organized players. There is a guarantee to that warranty, because I always say, I mean, you can buy it from a local shop, but what is the guarantee that that person will be there after 5 years? We will be there. And organized players will generally be there, unless basically it's a startup and there is no future to it. But I think competition is very, very good for the industry. It is a huge, huge market.
Absolutely. So talking about market itself, what kind of market share are you looking at in the South region, and more specifically in Tamil Nadu, where a bulk of these efforts are focused on?
We at present have around 20 to 23% market share. Of course, it's not a very syndicated research which happens, but we have 20 to 23% market share among the in this place. We want to increase that to maybe 27, 28% going forward. Till 2029, we want to go beyond 30%.
And last question before I let you go. going forward, what are the product categories that you will focus on? It's a market with a whole lot of opportunity, like you rightly mentioned. I think the modular space is also an area you will be focusing on in a big way. Product categories, which ones are clear winners for you and which ones do you expect to continue to doing well?
Yeah, I think across product categories, we have modular furniture in every category today, be it in beds, dining tables, sofas, wooden almirahs, steel almirahs, kitchens. Everything in our portfolio is generally modular. So people can, and I keep saying, except for the roof and floor, we can make everything according to your specifications or your choices. So whichever color you want, upholstery you want, you choose. So that is the biggest thing. In terms of categories, we want to be there. Everything between the floor and ceiling, we want to be there in furniture. So as I said, we were missing in a few categories like gaming chair and outdoor furniture. We have launched that category. There is one category in, say, cane furniture, which we are exploring now. Of course, we have to see the market depth also in that. And our ability to ensure uniform quality in anything is the determining factor. There are many categories where it's very difficult to have uniform quality. Say, in certain categories of wood, very difficult to ensure that the wood quality is uniform. In those cases, we don't get into those because we have a commitment to our consumers. But we are there in most categories.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on the bulletin today. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates from South India. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.